Hello, welcome to the last week of May. This is a energetic reading for every single day of this week from the 26th of May till the 1st and 2nd of June. And so I'm just going to go day by day. I'm going to talk about where we are this week in the context of where we've been and where we're going, and just a little bit of guidance for each day of the week. Because we have a big changeover this week and it's exciting. I've actually been looking forward to this week for a while. And I imagine that the energy is basically like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for this to shift. I'm ready for this to turn over. Like, people keep talking about this big shift. And like, I guess, one of the primary questions I've been asking myself a lot is, what am I waiting for exactly? Like, well, how am I hoping for it to be? Am I thinking that one day I'll wake up and I'll just have a ton of energy and I'll feel motivated and, it'll just happen naturally and organically? Is that what I'm waiting for? Like, why would I tune into astrology every day anyway? Am I hoping that it'll explain why there are periods of time that I feel like totally depleted, or there's periods of time where it would be most beneficial to like speak my truth and create content or launch what I'm like wanting to put out in the world? Or do I pay attention simply because like sometimes I'm really freaking moody and I just want to understand that my moodiness might have to do with some sort of psychological weather pattern that's going on. I think all of these reasons are valid, and I don't think any reason is more lofty than another, because we're here to be humans. We're here to have like a super mythical and mundane experience on this planet. And I think astrology covers both of those realms, all the realms really. So to give some context, we are in now a season where things are beginning to change and end. We've hit that Gemini season, and Gemini is a period where everything starts to move. We're shifting from spring to summer. Like the turnover of what nature's doing naturally, if you're living in the northern hemisphere, what nature's doing naturally to bring all the plants to the surface, that season of bringing it to the surface is now over. And now we're going into a season where things are just getting hardy and maturing and ripening, and like basically the endurance of the summer is about to start. And so we might be noticing also that there are certain things that are ending in our lives. Like, we initiated something in the spring, something around Aries season, something in about March. And we spent the last couple of months kind of following through with that initiation and bringing it into some sort of like, okay, this is my new norm. This is my new reality. And now that we feel like we've gotten that new reality, we're getting ready to start a new little chapter. Like, from my personal life, I literally moved in March to a new place. And I spent the last couple of months just getting myself oriented in this new space. Like, who am I now? How do I resource myself? What is this new location about? How do I spend my time now? How do I, like, literally, what products do I use? And so you could reflect. And what I'd suggest for you to do also is to notice, okay, now that that cycle is ending, what do you need to wrap up? We're in a week. This week is like, if you understand the tarot, it's a 10 of swords, Knight of Swords sort of week. So that this is a moment in the cycle where we're like, put a fork in it. It is done. Like, if it's not going to get more done than this. Let's just call it good. Let's finish this up. Let's like tie up our loose ends. Let's make sure that we are in right relationship with starting the new cycle. Like, literally, people are ending school semesters. Kids are getting out of elementary school. If you're a parent, like, there's a lot of things that are changing over this month, and it's the kickoff season for all of the summer events that we're going to be doing and handling and investigating and nourishing. So that is where we're at. And with any ending of a season or any closing of a thing, there's a lot of little things that just have to get done, like little, like the checklist, like the information's like, okay, did I do all this? So this week we're definitely feeling that. And it's not just the Gemini season, right? So we've had the planet Venus in a space that she's like, whew, she's in the temple of Mars, our feminine principle, the way that we receive, the way that we are in community with others, the way that we allow the grace to guide us in our worlds. It's been in a space that's felt a little like it's isolated to a certain degree. It's got a lot of fire. It's like feeling as if there's some faith that she's having to initiate over and over and over. And she's getting in touch with her desires, her magnetism. And when I say her, I mean like we have this inside of us. We have a him and we have a her. Like I'm using these pronouns to describe these planets, but really I'm just trying to talk about certain types of energy like yin and yang. I'm trying to talk about certain ways of being, and we all have to breathe in. Every single person has to take a breath in and receive breath, and every single person has to breathe out and push breath out in order to survive. So we have that yin and yang nature to us, but it has felt like taking a breath in has been like, oh my gosh, like I need a little bit of space to breathe. I need a little bit of time to myself to breathe. I need a little bit of, I need to like manage this new fire that's in my world and take some deep breaths into it. And now Mars is now our masculine principle, the way that we act and behave is in a very harmonious place. So this week kicked off like, okay, I'm ready to take action. I'm like feeling the inspiration. I'm feeling the drive. I'm ready to execute all of my ideas. Like I'm ready to move into a space where I can build something that will initiate new movement toward all these things I've been dreaming about, all these things that I've like set the foundation for. So we're in this space, and Venus is literally moving into the place where like, so our receptive nature is beginning to move into a place by Saturday that will allow us to receive the bounty of everything that we've been working hard toward, or we've been initiating toward, or we've been desiring toward. So that's just like an overview. Let me kind of break this down day by day. On Thursday, which is today, we're in a space that feels it's like we can feel the changeover is happening. We've got some people could be very frustrated. There's some fire can be experienced a lot of different ways. It can be anger, it could be frustration, it could be like if things are happening that we don't understand and we want changes to happen, but we don't feel like we can make those changes. And like there could be this like buildup of energy with all this fire. And if we don't have a really good outlet for that, it could kind of blow up in our world. It can be like, oh, like the stick that breaks the camel's back, so to speak. So we're feeling that today. And we've also got this energy, it's this Pluto trine Mercury situation. They're both in retrograde. So what that basically means is like, we're frustrated enough that we're willing to change our minds about something. We're frustrated enough that if the change has to come from us, we're willing to do it. We're willing to open up to, we feel enough pain, or we feel enough like built up energy that we want to channel that into some sort of change that we can actually do, that we actually have a sphere of influence over, because it can feel very frustrating to have a desire for some sort of change that we feel we have no control over. And a little bit, it a little bit feels like that. And yet what we know is that every change starts here. And when we actually allow ourselves to move the lens toward, okay, so what do I have control over? How can I be that change? What is my sphere of influence? What in my life do I have any kind of control over that can help facilitate this change and show my entire world, my life, that this change is meaningful to me, and this is what I'm doing to in my own act of sphere of action to facilitate that. So there could be on Thursday some breakthroughs. And this is my greatest hope. My greatest hope is that any type of fire that's building, that's like growing inside of us, that we're able to use that as the fuel that pushes us into the type of change that we need to see and be. And there could be some impulsiveness. I'm not saying it will be like pretty. We've got like, there is this potential for impulsive communication, impulsive expression, like words that are spoken before thinking properly. And this is all due to with Mercury still in retrograde in Taurus. So we would be feeling a sensation in our bodies would be speaking something, and we just be like, there's really positive ways to channel that. I mean, channeling it into physical movement, and like, I personally took up a physical strength training routine a few weeks ago, and I'm actually to the point where I'm looking forward to my workouts. I'm looking forward to like pressing into the space of failure when it comes to my muscles, because every time I fail, every time I push my body to the point of failure, my whole system, my whole nervous system, my motor control system, it all opens up and a new program is able to be installed. And because I know this about my system, I'm actively using that mechanism of change to install programs that are so empowering for my body, that are so empowering for my life. And so it's like there are ways to cultivate that burst, and then to utilize the burst in a way that will allow the energy to move in a direction that will serve our lives instead of destroy or hurt things that we truly value. So that's like the energy of Thursday. And I would definitely ask us all to find those areas, find those areas of pressure and ask some questions like, well, what could I actually do? I talked to someone recently, and they were having this feeling of like, I just feel like I should be doing something. I have these levels of uncertainty in my life. I feel like I should be doing something. And I was like, you could like take a look at your world. Is there anything that you feel like, gosh, like, that it's on your desk, like, you need to do it. That once you do it, you're going to feel the weight of that thing released, or that if you do that, it'll open up this new branch of your business. If you do it, it'll free your creative bandwidth so that you can actually have new ideas and do something else. This is a perfect time to just use the fire and just say, God, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to get that done. I'm just going to take that off my plate. I'm going to free myself from this thing. And so this is a good time for that. And then conversely, if we're feeling like we're in a state of, please just tell me what to do, I'm surrendered. Like, I consistently have conversations with invisible energies. And sometimes that conversation is, I need my eyes and ears on the ground here. I'm just this like blind little human. And I would love a little bit of guidance. Just tell me what to do and I will do it. I am so surrendered. If there's something that I'm being called to do, just tell me what it is, because I am so willing and able to step up to that. And so this is also a good time to call in your calling, to like demand it, like command and demand that you be called towards something that you can put your fire toward, because fire without purpose or fire without a space can be very destructive fire. And so asking for the space or deciding that there's a space to put your energy and focus, that's a really good thing to be considering on Thursday. So, okay, that's a lot for Thursday. So we get to Friday, the moon will move into Taurus. This will feel like a little bit smoother, a little bit calmer. It'll be more about tending to the body. It's a good recovery day for the body. Really, as Mercury retrogrades through Taurus, the body's communicating to us a lot right now. It's helping us to reorganize our relationship to it. So if your body keeps getting bloated every time you have oat milk, even though oat milk seems like the most, integrous milk these days, but if your body is getting bloated every single time you have it, this is the time to listen to your body. Like, hey, maybe I've got an intolerance to oat milk. I mean, that's a very mundane example, but if there are things that your body is telling you is just not really working out for you anymore, use this time to listen to your body's messages. That's what a Mercury and Taurus retrograde is for. How can I listen more deeply to the material of my world to get the messages I need and make the changes I need to be in the most resource and sustainable nature that I can be? And Venus is in her very last degree of Aries on Friday. So this is it's such a perfect day for Venus to demand that she receive the message. Like, what does she really want? What does your body really want? What does your soul really want? What's the aching desire that you actually have? And Venus in her last degree of Aries is like, she's speaking it out. She's like, I just want this. I just need this. I just desire this. I just want to experience this. And it will probably have something to do with the way you actually feel in any given moment. Usually the things we want, they have more to do with a sensation and a state than anything else. I just want the sensation of peace. I just want the sensation of congruence. I just want the sensation of power. I just want the sensation of pleasure. I just want to feel strong. I just want to feel confident. I just want to feel driven. I just want to feel motivation. I want to feel meaning. I want to feel spirit, like I'm connected, like, what do you want to feel? What is Venus really saying to you? What do you really, really want? Use Friday to get so clear, and it's going to be a sensation. It's going to be a state of mind. It's not going to be necessarily a material thing. It's going to be something that lights you up, because that's what life is actually about. So what is life actually about for you? It's a good time to ask, and make sure that it's somehow tied to a feeling state as well. Because as we move into Saturday, the moon will still be in Taurus. It'll be moving over the whole, we have all these planets and placements right now that are really driving us toward getting our feet on the ground, feeling stable in our world, knowing what our rocks are, what the rock of our foundation of our life is. And so on Saturday, we're going to be feeling those rocks. Like, this is a pillar of strength for me. My family is a pillar of strength. The people I serve, this is where I feel strong. Like, my home is my pillar of strength. My body is my pillar of strength. Like, whatever is your pillar, my good friends, my network, my business, these are pillars of strength for me. My faith. That's Saturday is the day where we take stock and inventory of what is still standing. When all is said and done, what's the most important foundation and resource in your world? And Venus will then move into Taurus on Saturday, and it'll be just a moment to excuse me, have so much gratitude for your ability to experience what you already have in your life. Excuse me. So I see one of the most powerful energies that we can be in is the state of gratitude. And gratitude requires us to see what we already have in place, what we already have going for us. Wow, this is beautiful. This is amazing. And that state of gratitude will help facilitate the next part of the cycle. So if nothing else, just touch in with that and really let it sink in that the things that you're grateful for are right here already. So then we move to Sunday, the moon moved into Gemini, and we're heading toward a new moon. So the moon is in its dying cycle right now. It's ending its moon cycle. And every time the moon is ending its cycle, there is like, it's still, like I said, we're in an ending cycle. Well, we're in an ending week of the ending cycle also. So as the moon is nearly new on Sunday, it'll become new overnight. Sunday's like the last day of the old moon cycle, the old chapter, the eclipse cycle. So we've gone through a lot with the eclipses. It started with that Taurus new moon solar eclipse, then it moved to the Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse, which was 2 weeks ago. Like, so much has happened in the last 4 weeks. And so Sunday is like the last day of that. And it's also a seeding day. So Mars and Jupiter will Mars, the way that we act, the way that we step up, Jupiter, the way we expand, the philosopher, it's the part of us that is constantly calling us to grow, constantly calling us to be more. And when Jupiter and Mars are together, that call for growth, it can feel a lot of different ways. The call for growth can feel very, very painful if we're stuck behind some strong thought forms. And hopefully, as you've been going along in the past month, some of those thought forms have been broken apart enough that once we get to this Sunday, you can actually just be in the seed moment of the Mars-Jupiter conjunction, where Mars and Jupiter are literally at the same degree in Aries. They're planting. Aries is the seed anyway. Aries is the energy that bursts the seed pod open so that the little sprout can burrow through the dark earth and make it to the surface. Like, that's the kind of energy we're in. And so this is a brand new cycle for a whole new garden of experience. So it's so beautiful and divine that we have the opportunity to consciously understand what those seeds in our lives are actually about. And so we've got the new moon in Gemini, new ideas, new thoughts, new ways of thinking based on how our needs are being met or how our needs are not being met. How well are your needs being met through this past moon cycle, through this past 3-month cycle? How well are your needs being met? Are they being met really well? And what are you thinking about that? Or are they not being met very well? And how are you going to change your thoughts because of that? What kind of thinking got you to where you are right now? And what can happen now to facilitate the next leg of the journey? Venus is in her home sign. So there's a natural magnetism when we're humble enough to acknowledge the truth, that the actual truth. I have this book. I keep talking about this book. I've been writing this book for a long time. And essentially it's got these 3 tenets for the new paradigm of relationship. That's not what the book's about, but there are these 3 tenets for this new paradigm of relationship with life. And the very first tenet is to be completely honest with yourself. Unfailingly honest, 100% transparent with yourself. There's no denial, there's no delusion, there's no illusions, there's no projections. It's just raw responsibility and honesty with what really is true, what's really, really true. And that's number 1. That would be the most powerful thing that we can come to right now. Rule number 2 is that you come to a space where you are willing to bring that honest truth to the people that we love, to the relationships we love, to the parts of life that we really love. So this doesn't have to necessarily be people, right? Like, if I'm super, super honest, let's take the oat milk opportunity, right? If I'm really honest with myself, when I drink oat milk, my stomach gets bloated and I actually feel tired and sick. Darn it. I would love for that not to be true, but I've been witnessing it over and over and over. There's a possibility I have an intolerance to oat milk. Okay. Am I willing to be completely honest with myself about this? Yes, I am. Okay. So how do I now take that honesty and bring it into relationship? Well, to bring it into relationship, I stopped buying oat milk, and I stopped buying oat milk products, and I just avoid oats altogether. And I find a substitution that feels more aligned with my values and what I believe in, right? So maybe I try coconut milk. So that would be a communication about my honesty with the world, right? So then the next step of it, after tenet number 2, which is sharing your truth with other people, tenet number 3 is be willing, completely unattached, be willing to release your attachment to the outcome of sharing that truth. So if we're sharing something true in our relationships, like maybe you share something that's vulnerable, that's really true for you, that you need to share with someone you're in a relationship with. You come to that truth on your own, you share that with someone else, and then you don't try to control the way that they take that. You don't try to control the way how they feel, the way they respond, whether or not they're going to continue to, do fun things with you or not do fun things. Like there's a release of maybe it breaks the identity that they've been holding about you. And maybe you got to release your attachment to them having a certain projected identity of who you are. In any case, the third tenet is to release control and allow the truth to be present, which will cultivate greater intimacy with life. And it also, maybe the milk choice I use, maybe it's not even the milk, maybe it's the coffee I'm putting the milk in, right? So I have to be detached. Like I could try this alternate milk and I put it in the coffee, and guess what? I get bloated and sick, and it's probably not the milk then, it's probably the coffee. And so I've got to be willing to be open to realizing all right, maybe I really do need to give up coffee. Darn it. I got to be, what am I really valuing? Am I valuing feeling really good? Am I valuing having a foundation of health and feeling like I can thrive in a way that's super sustainable for my body? Yeah. Okay. So there's the outcome of being honest, communicating in the world, and then being detached or open to the repercussions of that. So Sunday would be an awesome day for all of that to happen. I know it's big, right? So, but we're planting a seed, and the Jupiter Mars seed is huge, and it's gonna exponentially grow. So just make sure that whatever you put in the ground on Sunday, it's what you want, and it's clear, and it's in your integrity, and it's strong, and it's aligned with your values. So then on Monday, the moon's in Gemini, and Mars is going to begin the square to Lilith in Cancer. And Mercury's beginning the square to Saturn. So we get into the week on Monday and we're like, ooh, I'm feeling some pressure. Something has just changed. I just planted this seed and my life is already feeling the repercussions of that. Okay, when Mars squares Lilith, that means that our behavior, we're going to have to put the rubber to the road. We're going to have to put our money where our mouth is. We're going to have to push past our conditioned responses to vulnerability that we used to use in the past. We're going to have to use our behavior to move beyond the old ways we responded to our vulnerability. So I imagine something vulnerable will start coming up Monday and Tuesday. It's gonna last for a few days. So we've got a window of time next week, and this is going to be that Knight of Swords energy. If you're familiar with Knight of Swords, the Knight of Swords has got a sword. He's on a fast horse. He's got his mouth open. He's like, ah, he is delivering some true messages that are maybe tough to swallow, that feel like they're an emergency to deliver. There's a lot of communications going back and forth. In this energy, especially with Mercury squaring Saturn, in this energy, we could feel a lot of pressure around communicating in our integrity. We can feel some impulsiveness with our communications. We can feel worried about something that we've said, and then we'll hurry up and say a bunch of things to try and cover up what we actually mean. When we're honest about who we are, and then we share that honesty with others, and then we're left in that zone of vulnerability that happens when the truth has been told and we don't know if everything's going to stay the same or change, or if people are going to be upset. That's the zone of discomfort that we might start feeling Monday and Tuesday. And it's good. The zone of discomfort, this is that This is that failure in the old pattern that I was talking about. In my body, this is a metaphor, in my body, when I would push like weight with my muscles, and I would have perfect form to do that. So I'm actually activating the muscles. My muscle will get to a point of fatigue, and then different muscles will kick in, and I'll lose my form, and I'll try to push through it anyway. That was not working. It was not actually helping anything. It was, my will was to continue with the movement to get some sort of outcome, to like feel strong enough to keep moving. But what I was doing is I was conditioning a movement pattern that wasn't serving the growth of my muscles. It wasn't serving, like, basically I was telling my brain, if the bicep fails, just call on everything else to do the biceps job. So the bicep doesn't have to get stronger. It's just going to, it's going to remain the same, and everyone else is going to do its job for it if it gets too heavy for it, which, it's an adaptive pattern. We all have these adaptive patterns, but we have these patterns in our life too. So what I'm paying close attention to is, wow, how can I just be really clear on the job of the bicep, or be really clear on where my growth is, recognize when I have that failure and just be with it. Let the motor control center open, let the nervous system open. And in that moment, instead of putting in a fear pattern or an anxiety pattern or a stress pattern, put in a pattern that says, this is part of my growth. I am valuing personal strength. I am valuing personal integrity. And this is part of my integrity path. This is like perfect time this is Mars, Jupiter. Like, this is like, oh, it couldn't be more visceral and physical for me. And I think it's so that I can have a tangible example of this, so that you can relate this to the areas of your life where this is happening. I just happen to have Aries in a point of my chart that has to do with my physical body and my home, which is my body. So I'm like, oh, let's bring a lot of focus and attention to my home and my body right now. And let's bring Mars strength to that space, and let's grow it. So I'm like, it's okay. I'm like very passionate about this stuff. So we get to Tuesday, the moon is still in Gemini. So we got moon in Gemini, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And basically it's this energy of like, in order to grow, in order to learn, I've got to allow myself to open my psyche in a space of perceived failure, or perceived shame, or perceived vulnerability, right? Because we've got the Mars square Lilith. So I've got to open to the growth that I've initiated on Sunday through any kind of perceived insecurity or shame or fear that I may be having right now, and allow myself to fill in the space that I would normally contract away from. Just allow myself to be with it, to handle my physiology, to handle my psychology, to remind myself that in order to grow, the old thing needs to become obsolete and in essence break or fail, so that something new, so that the brain can send the message that we need to actually strengthen that muscle. We need to send the signal that we need to send more resources to that spot, so that it can actually become more hardy and strong, and so it can flourish. So there's a lot of like physical analogies right now, because that's just where I'm at, but this will be in a different space for you. So just think about where is this happening for me? On Wednesday, June 1st, the moon will move into Cancer, and the moon will be conjunct Lilith in Cancer. So that, and of course, all of that's going to be squaring the Jupiter Mars seed. So whatever that Sunday intention was, Wednesday is the day where it's like, okay, I'm super conscious of what this fear or this shame or this vulnerability or this coping pattern, or like how I handle failure in my life. I'm super aware of it right now. And maybe you like it, maybe you don't like it. You know, the sun's at 11 degrees Gemini this day. So 11 is the degree of integrity. So we must be in so much integrity with our words, with our thoughts. Like if there's any weird stories that are going on that just simply aren't true, you know, check your psychology, like go see a therapist, like talk with someone who you know sees you and loves you with a compassionate heart. Like let yourself be seen in your failure so that you can actually get the resources necessary and the nourishment and the foundational support to actually grow in this space. And yeah, that's the best thing that we can do to really, really, instead of avoiding the fear or avoiding the shame or, you know, putting in that old pattern again that we used to run that kept us safe or kept us comfortable or kept the thermostat set at a certain temperature in our lives, we actually like acknowledge that this is what growth is. This is the pattern. This is how we change. Then on Thursday, I'll make another video, but the moon will be in Cancer, and we're essentially pulling back a whole new arrow from this new emotional, vulnerable space, an arrow toward greater connection. And so that's the week ahead. I hope you're able to follow me. I also speak on a Telegram channel. I'll leave a link below. I have a daily astrology writing that's very like grounded and down to earth. I talk about the way that this goes from a very like present perspective. My goal is to make astrology extremely accessible. I'm getting feedback that like I can strip this back even a little bit more. I have a tendency, I'm still in the process of like translating from the language of astrology into more practical language. And I want to continue that translation even more deeply so that if you're interested in dipping into astrology more deeply, the language doesn't have to be the barrier. I would love to, you know, create some translation materials here on YouTube. I have an astrology class and many people have stepped into that, but I feel like even more videos that translate some of the energies in case that's where you're at. So if you're finding that you'd like more of that, please let me know. Leave me a message, leave me a comment, reach me however you can reach me through my website, whatever. I'm at lunation.live. And let me know if you feel that would be valuable, because I'm dedicated to making this map more accessible every single day for more and more people. I definitely feel we've been given this beautiful, beautiful map for the natural cycles and rhythms of life, and that knowing that the map is even there is a comfort. Like even if we don't know how to read the map, just knowing that this map is here, and it's like it was given to us, it was given to our consciousness to feel and to use and to stretch and to ask questions and to philosophize about and to bring us into even greater presence with our lives and the people we love and just like life itself. So anyways, that's where it's at. I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please share this video. Please subscribe. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed, please subscribe, like the video, comment if you can. I'm, again, trying to spread my reach and just bring more and more people into the space of understanding the natural cycles and rhythms. So you could help a lot by distributing this video throughout your network. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to next time. Bye.